Okay, in this video we're going to talk about the mechanical law of angle, which is law number 2 of the 5 universal laws in the R3 approach. Law number 2 is the first of the 3 mechanical laws, all about angle. Angular momentum in the golf swing is where our primary source of power is. Now, I tried my best to make some swings and literally cast the angle out, and actually found it pretty difficult to do because I've made probably millions of swings over my lifetime, counting every one of them. Practice swings, rehearsal swings, swings at night in front of a mirror, swings in my mind, which is the way we practice. We practice in a lot of different ways. Anyway, I've gotten my mechanics to the point where they can be considered a motor skill, which means I'm able to do them without thinking about cognitively trying to produce that movement. That's what a motor skill is, as we talk about in the R3 approach. But when you get the mechanical movements to a point where they're a motor skill, actually not doing them is pretty difficult to do. That's the real upside of practicing correctly and sufficiently until we get a movement to the point where it's in fact a motor skill. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hit bad shots just like anyone else. A swing that has good mechanics then depends upon good rhythm and timing in order for a good shot to occur. So I'll hit just as many bad shots as the next player will if my rhythm and timing is off. But in terms of mechanics, again, we want to practice the mechanics of our swing correctly and sufficiently to a point to where it becomes almost just, well, it is in fact a motor skill. Anyway, with that being said, let's have a look at what angle is all about in a golf swing. We go from a ready position. Essentially, in both cases, I'm setting up in a ready position. That would be the A-frame position that we talk about as we make our golf swing. We want to essentially keep our body in that A-frame as we pivot into the right side to the set position. Excuse me, and then make our downswing move. Okay, here we go with a good, as best I could, a good example of casting the angle out. Go from the ready position to the set position. Not really a bad looking position there. As I pivot into my right side, getting ready to initiate that downswing go move. Here we go. So right out of the top, there goes the angle. Casting it right out. You can see how my right elbow is high in this case, which is very typical of someone who may cast that angle out early. Again, casting the angle out early means that we're casting or losing that angle early in the golf swing. Over here on the left, where I'm practicing with the release board, rehearsing that feeling of, again, pivoting into my right side on the backswing, initiating the go move into that second pivot in my left side, and as I make that second pivot, I'm bringing the angle back down in front of myself, right there, without casting that angle out as I am over here on the left. Anyway, here I come down into the 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock impact zone, and again, my right side is completely out of position. My right arm is completely out of position as I enter that 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone. What you want to feel is, as you start that, as you initiate that go move out of the top of the swing here, that right elbow will bury right into our side, getting ready to extend that right arm into a fully extended position right through the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone. As you can see, I'm casting that right arm out early and straightening it out early. And what that means is I've completely lost any angular momentum that I need in order to generate good power in the golf swing. So again, as we feel ourselves go from the ready position to the set position in the swing, that downswing move out of the top of the swing is a pivot into the left side. As we make that pivot into the left side, that right elbow buries right into our right side. with the sensation of really holding that angle off, with the right arm bent backwards, the right wrist still bent backwards, retaining that angle until the last possible millisecond, at which point right down in this area we'll begin the release action right in this area where the left arm begins to rotate over. We'll look at the release action in another video, but this one's all about what the angle is and what it's all about, and the fact that we don't want to cast or shove that angle out of the top of the swing, as I'm illustrating pretty good right there. Oof. That's a hard way to try to hit a golf ball right there. Okay, so the real power in the swing rests with how we deliver that angle down and through the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone while feeling that right elbow bury right into our right side and prepare to extend fully down in the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone, which is again an area about waist high. So when we get that angle down to about waist high, it's then that the release action begins prior to and through the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone. If we cast that angle out early, as I'm doing here, we've lost all power in the swing. It's very likely, in fact, that we're going to hit a lot of chunky shots. And if we do happen to miss the ground and catch the ball, it's not going to go very far. So again, the angle is our primary source of power in the swing. We have to practice correctly and sufficiently what it means to go from the ready position to the set position in the swing. Go from the ready position to the set position in the swing. Initiate that downswing go move with a pivot into the left hip, at which point that right elbow is burying right into our side. As that angle gets down here to the 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone, we'll begin our release action. Alrighty, let's again figure this, how we're going to get the angle moving through that 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock impact zone in order to generate good power in our golf swing. Alrighty now, let's continue doing good work.